ground beneath trembled violently. Soldiers braced themselves, their eyes wide with disbelief at the sight before them. Level 50 demons and beasts creatures once feared were falling with ease. Amid the chaos, it became clear that their downfall wasn't due to weakness, but to the overwhelming strength of a single man, Lin. Amid the chaos, a radiant light pierced through the battlefield. Muin on his horse floated above, encased in a glowing barrier that radiated immense power. The swarming demons below recoiled, their dark forms dwarfed by the sheer brilliance emanating from above, signaling the arrival of a force far beyond their reach. A blinding surge of crimson energy erupted, tearing through the battlefield with devastating force. The shockwave carved through the terrain, leaving destruction in its wake as the ground quaked violently. When the chaos settled, Lin at the center of it all stood unwavering.
At the start of the game, make sure not to choose the wrong 5 main guns. You must choose the Thunder God main gun.
Wavering amidst the carnage. The remnants of his attack a silent warning to anyone daring to challenge him. He stood amidst the glowing energy swirling around him, his expression calm yet focused. The golden streaks of light illuminated the battlefield, marking the aftermath of a decisive victory. Behind him, Muin and Iris watched silently, their eyes filled with awe. Lin clenched the crystal in his hand, knowing that despite the destruction of tens of thousands, this newfound power was the real prize. This was no ordinary artifact, it held the power to awaken a divine force. Lin now had 273 of these rare crystals, their combined energy marking a significant step toward his ultimate goal. Iris and Muin exchanged a quick glance, suggesting it was time to leave the battlefield. Lin nodded in agreement, his gaze steady as he turned toward them. Without wasting a moment, the trio prepared to move. 2 soldiers watched from a distance as Lin, Iris, and Muin disappeared into the horizon. One of them questioned just how many dragon crystals Lin had managed to take after eliminating so many enemies. The other cautioned against overthinking, reminding him that someone with Lin's strength wouldn't leave anything behind without purpose. One of the soldiers, unable to contain his frustration, shouted in disbelief, his fear evident as he tightened his grip on his weapon. Meanwhile, Lin, Muin, and Iris had moved deep into a desolate area surrounded by towering trees and shattered terrain. Sitting calmly, Lin addressed them, suggesting they use the dragon blood crystal to awaken their hidden potential. He asked who would go first. Muin stepped forward with a confident smirk, volunteering to go first. She remarked on her past failure to awaken her potential, noting the low success rate of 10 to 15% per crystal. Despite the odds, she seemed eager to test her limits this time. Holding the radiant purple crystal close, she closed her eyes as its glow intensified, the energy within beginning to resonate with her determination. As Muin concentrated, the crystal's energy exploded outward, enveloping her in a brilliant surge of purple light. Her hair flowed wildly as the immense power coursed through her, resonating with her very being. The sheer intensity of the awakening sent shockwaves across the area, forcing Iris to shield herself while Lin remained seated, calmly observing the display. The energy surged higher, radiating with untamed force, as Muin's awakening reached its peak. As the intense energy subsided, Muin opened her eyes, her expression heavy with disappointment. The crystal's power had failed to awaken her potential, leaving her effort in vain. However, Lin remained unfazed. He calmly gestured toward the pile of glowing purple crystals, reassuring her that there were plenty more to try. This wasn't the end, it was only a matter of time. Muin accepted another crystal with a faint smile, expressing her gratitude as Lin reassured her that her contribution had always been valuable. Holding the crystal close, she steadied her breathing and focused once more. As the energy surged again, her determination burned brighter. This was her 16th attempt, and she wasn't ready to give up. The glow intensified around her, wrapping her in its radiant aura. A blinding explosion of light erupted as the crystal's energy reached its peak, sending shockwaves through the area. Iris shielded herself from the overwhelming brilliance, while Lin observed intently, his expression calm yet intrigued. The energy finally stabilized, revealing Muin transformed. Floating gracefully amidst the radiant aura, her appearance exuded newfound strength and elegance. The awakening was complete. Muin had finally unlocked her full potential. Iris approached Muin with excitement, eagerly asking what kind of power she had awakened. Muin, her expression calm yet proud, revealed her new ability, the Sacred Flame Blessing. She explained that her attacks would now carry holy effects, significantly amplifying their destructive power, especially against those with dark or evil alignments. The glow of her newfound strength still lingered as she looked at her hands, fully embracing the potential of her awakening. Iris cheered for Muin, commenting how perfectly the Sacred Flame Blessing suited her. Muin smiled and thanked her, then gestured toward Iris, signaling it was her turn. Without hesitation, Iris grabbed a crystal, her golden eyes blazing with determination. Holding it tightly, she declared it was finally her moment, ready to embrace whatever power awaited her. Iris closed her eyes as the crystal in her hand began to glow with a brilliant blue light. The energy surged around her, wrapping her in a vortex of raw power as she gripped it tightly. The intensity grew with each passing second until the crystal released a massive burst of light. It was her 12th attempt, and the explosion signified that something extraordinary was about to happen. Muin's eyes widened in shock as she exclaimed that Iris had succeeded. Floating gracefully, Iris was now enveloped in an ethereal blue aura, her transformation complete. The energy surrounding her radiated power and elegance, signaling the awakening of a new ability. She stood as a symbol of strength, her presence commanding awe and respect from everyone watching. Iris beamed with excitement as she declared her newly awakened ability, Critical Strike Blessing. She explained that during its activation, her skills would hit with perfect precision, maximizing both efficiency and damage. Lin observed her from a distance, his gaze focused on the vivid display of her power. He couldn't help but think that this ability, paired with her precise combat techniques, made her the ultimate weapon for taking down powerful bosses. With a playful smirk, Iris turned to Lin and declared it was now his turn. Muin chuckled softly in the background, clearly intrigued by what might happen next. Lin remained calm, reaching out to pick up a glowing purple crystal. As he held it, the crystal began to hum with energy, signaling that his moment to awaken had finally arrived. He calmly held the glowing crystal in his hand, his voice steady as he stated, "Let me handle this." The area around him grew heavier as he activated its power. Shadows and energy swirled violently, enveloping him in an ominous green aura. The crystal pulsed with dark intensity, marking his 6th attempt. Lin stood firm amidst the chaos, his silhouette radiating a mix of control and raw power. As the ominous green energy intensified, it spiraled outward in violent waves, forcing Iris and Muin to shield themselves. Lin remained at the center, unmoving, as the power manifested into sinister figures surrounding him. With a chilling aura that seemed to carry the whispers of the dead, Lin's eyes narrowed as he grasped the meaning of his awakening. Any enemies within this domain would share the same fate, death, with no escape. Lin's sharp gaze focused as he calculated the impact of his newfound power. He realized that as long as his ability was used strategically, the risk of fatal casualties against overwhelming foes like boss-class enemies would drop significantly. Suddenly, a system notification appeared before him, glowing ominously in the green haze. The message confirmed the activation of his ability, marking the beginning of its optimization. Lin's expression shifted slightly, ready to embrace whatever came next. His eyes widened in shock as he stared at the system notification. It had been dormant ever since his class transformation, yet here it was, suddenly reactivating. The words, "Ability Optimization in Progress," flashed ominously before him, leaving him on edge. Meanwhile, Iris and Muin were caught off guard as the swirling green energy intensified around Lin. Confused, Iris questioned what was happening, wondering why the energy was surging uncontrollably after his awakening had supposedly stabilized. The swirling green energy reached its climax as the system finalized the optimization of Lin's ability. A notification appeared, detailing his newfound power, Life Link Summon. All summoned entities would now share their life force with him, allowing them to endure damage together and recover simultaneously. Lin's lips curved into a confident smirk as he processed the implications. With this ability, he declared that life and death were now intertwined for his allies and enemies alike. This, he thought with certainty, is a true god-tier talent. Iris eagerly asked Lin about the ability he had just awakened. With a faint smirk, Lin calmly revealed it was Life Link Summon, a power that connected the life force of all his summoned entities. Muin's expression turned to astonishment as she realized the sheer strength of such an ability. She murmured that it would be nearly impossible to eliminate all his summons, acknowledging how overwhelming his talent truly was. Lin gazed into the distance, contemplating the limitations of his newfound power. He admitted that against ancient boss-class creatures, like the enigmatic bird-like monsters, his chances of victory would still be slim. Turning his attention to Iris and Muin, he inquired about their plans moving forward. Iris explained that she needed to return to the Knight's Order, where her presence was required. Meanwhile, Muin decided to stay behind and continue training in the area, determined to push her abilities further. Lin stood silently, watching as Iris gracefully ascended into the sky, her shadow glowing faintly against the dense forest backdrop. With a calm expression, Lin turned slightly and muttered softly, "Until we meet again," his tone carrying both resolve and a sense of quiet anticipation for the challenges ahead. He held the scroll in his hand, his gaze steady as he decided his next move. He mentioned returning to Shenzia to meet his mentor, a quiet resolve in his voice. Activating the teleportation scroll, a brilliant burst of purple light erupted around him, tearing through the air with immense energy. Lin stood calmly amidst the chaos.
This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,